Hello everyone, I hope everybody's good today. I'm here in Rome, in Italy, central Rome, sitting under a tree in a little park here behind Castel Sant'Angelo Castle, this one here right behind me. It's just a 5 minutes walk from the Vatican, and it's more or less the neighborhood where I grew up. So we used to come here after school with my friends all the time. And I'm sorry if I'm recording this video on this microphone right here, but the microphone of my phone is a bit broken, so I hope the recording on this makes things somehow a bit better. Anyway, I got inspired to record this short video today by a phone call that I had with a friend of mine a few days ago. A friend that I've known for quite a few years, more than 10 years for sure, but he's much older than me. He's in his 60s now. He was in his 50s when we first met. And we met under a series of quite interesting and strange and unusual circumstances, because it was a time when I was just beginning my research within the realm of psychedelic substances, of techniques that induce altered states of consciousness, and all sort of techniques from all different traditions from around the world, and so then therefore shamanism and many other things that are related to this subject. Now I could be talking for hours about all the topics and subjects that with this friend of mine and other friends from within the same circle all together throughout the years we've been discussing about techniques, what are more powerful, more useful, which ones are not, the substances, which ones not, to use them, not to use them, do shamans use them, do shamans not use them, all the different traditions. I mean, it's many things. And it's not the point of this video to discuss about these kind of things. So instead, I would like to use this, as I did in other videos, as an analogy or as an allegory or a metaphor, to explain another concept through this story. A concept that is very important for the internal arts, or for the spiritual arts, or for the mystic arts, or however we want to call them, or whatever terminology we want to use to describe them. So as I was talking to this friend of mine, he never really had a background in let's call it spirituality, right? So the techniques from whatever tradition, whether it's like some yogic, Hindu or Buddhist or Chinese or whatever, he never really had that kind of background. But he was really much in the use of psychedelics, only that. So he tried them all, within all possible different combinations of sets and settings, from the traditional environments with shamans from different traditions in different countries to more modern forms of, let's say, psychotherapy with the support of psychedelics. And as we were talking, he told me, when I started doing it, I did because I had some questions within myself that I was looking answers for. And as I started doing it, I fell under the illusion that these substances could really give me those answers. But I got to a stage in my life where I realized that it is not actually so, that the answer is not there. So this actually is a very profound understanding, it's a very profound realization and a very profound insight that, yes, of course, somebody from the outside can understand, but it is much more powerful, of course, if it comes from within us as our own personal insight, where we fully embody this understanding. Now, a term that I just mentioned earlier, a couple of minutes ago, is set and setting. It is actually something that I already recorded a video about back in Bali a few weeks ago. It's that I haven't yet checked the video, so I don't know if it came out alright, but I'm gonna check it later, and if it's alright, I will upload a video after this. But if we analyze this from the use, let's say, of psychedelic substances from different points of view, to make it short, so long story short, what happens? If we look at the set and setting from a more modern perspective, as it is normally done very often today in these modern psychedelic circles, if you've been there, you know, what happens is that before you start, the person who is guiding the experience says, now you have to set an intention for the experience, right? Then after the experience has happened, very often you have a sharing circle, which is a sharing circle, but it is also called the integration circle, right? Because you started with an intention, and now through the experience you want to integrate whatever it is that you have received in the experience in your everyday day-to-day life. And although from a point of view this seems the right thing to do and the correct thing to do, also there are in my personal opinion, of course, there are ways to approach it and ways to do it, and this is definitely something that I will discuss in another video. From another point of view though, if we look at a more traditional and rough shamanic approach from the shamans, they say you have to listen. You have to listen to what the spirit of the plant, to what the spirit of the medicine or the spirit of the ancestors is telling you. Okay, so as you know, this in traditional contexts, these psychedelic substances, they are seen as spirits, you know, so ayahuasca and the mushrooms and some peyote and other substances, you know, there are some sacred spirits of ancestors, or you know, they have some grandmother, a holy father, or sacred earth. You know what I mean? So you have to listen to the voice of the spirit. You have to listen to the voice of the ancestors, which in a way if you think about it, is not only different but almost opposite to setting an intention, right? If you look at it more from a middle way perspective, what you do is you do set an intention and you drop the intention back deep in your subconscious. Just to give a very stupid example, almost like when you go to sleep and just before going to sleep you drop, in the background of your mind the volition of waking up at a certain time. Like, I want to wake up at 9, and you set the alarm clock for 9 and you wake up like 8:55, a few minutes before the alarm clock goes off. So very similar thing. You set an intention, you let it sink in the back of your mind, and you consciously forget about it, so that the back of your mind, your subconscious, still guides your mind towards the goal that you have set. And while you are going towards the direction, you listen to the voice of the spirits, to the instruction, to the wisdom, and you receive it, and then you change accordingly. So if you have more or less understood the difference between these two ideas, these two concepts, this is the concept that I wanted to talk about in this video. So a strong intention, meaning a forceful guiding towards a specific objective, rather than an attentive awareness. So we're talking about attention versus intention. We are talking about presence versus a forceful action, if you know what I mean. But it's not really neither one or the other, because as we have seen, there is a middle way to do things. But it is a little story that we can use to understand the difference between the two. So yes, you do need attention, you do need awareness, you do need presence to be able to turn your senses inwards, your sight inwards, your hearing inwards, your thought, you turn it inwards, and you listen to what is happening inside. Then a seed that has been dropped in the back of your mind of intent at the beginning might be guiding your mind, but it must not be a forceful action that creates nothing but tension and frustration within the mind, and therefore within the body. It is also interesting how, if we look at it from a more traditional point of view, as I was mentioning earlier, these very often psychedelic substances, plants and so on, are literally seen as literal teachers. And so as you listen to the teacher, what the shamans tell you is that the medicine, therefore the teacher, never gives you what you want. It only gives you what you need. This is also why of the importance of learning how to listen, learning how to develop this attention, this presence, this awareness. Because you are getting what you need, not what you want. This is very important because we also can translate this concept from a more abstract to a more concrete, in the sense that even with a teacher, a physical teacher, a master that you have, as it very often happens with Eastern teachers, unlike with the Western, very often, not always, but often, they never give you what you need. You can pay, it doesn't matter, they never give you what you want. They give you what you need. So, in order for you to progress and to evolve in your practice, you have to bow down. You bow down to the teacher so that you can receive with humbleness whatever it is that you need to progress. So I hope this little story somehow it's helpful to understand this little idea. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.